The purpose of the group is the fruit of the tree, each person sharing their story with you. Come and join us. Today, you're with us. Come and join us. John, since I mentioned your name, do you want to?
These spiritual side of things, they were telling me to look inside myself. That the answer I was looking for was inside, that I needed to look inside myself. Now, previously, all I had ever done was go to everyone in the whole wide world that I could find outside of myself, in the mental health people, psychologists, psychiatrists, whatever, and ask them for the answers, look into them for the answers, and they would give me drugs, antidepressants, in order for me to get better. But they never worked. Never once worked. And I spoke to psychiatrists, psychologists for years. Never got anywhere. But when I started to look inside myself, I became aware, and looking at spirituality, that the answer was inside me. But as you do that, and you go inside, you find that there's this other wall there. It's called the veiling of life and the conditioning of life. And you start to look inside yourself. You go inside, you start to look at this veil that's been put up, the conditioning. We've had the conditioning of mental health people, psychologists and psychiatrists. And it's a bit scary at first, you know? And that has its own little problems that you have to overcome. But from my experience, my life has begun to change. It's not perfect, but it's begun to change because I went inside looking for my answers and not outside to the world.
I just want to say, when I talk about seeing his beauty, he's talking about going inside. He went inside and saw the fact, not the opinion. He saw something absolute. And when he could soar with the beautiful feelings, but he did not associate himself with where that was coming from. Yeah. He was still seeing it from outside of himself.
Yeah.
I'm just wanted to emphasize that, John.
Yeah. I mean, so going back to what you said earlier, Harry, obviously, when we would talk about spiritual stuff, it was great, you know. It would lift me high. You know, my consciousness would rise, and everything was good. But when I would fall back into the trap, as you would say, of thinking about my illness, and I would go down. So Harry, as he was saying, would be lifting me up, and I would soar on the spiritual side of aspect and see things completely different.
I didn't lift you up.
It came from within me. Yeah, it came from the inside me. You guided me there, but it came from within me.
I didn't guide you. I just followed your energy. Mark, you have some direct experience with what she's talking about. Why don't you share something that you see with regards to that?
Yeah, I could relate to more or less everything that Niki was talking about. As I, from a teenager, started suffering from anxiety attacks, periods of depression, and I was prescribed diazepam by the doctors, which did stop the anxiety attacks, but then got me addicted to diazepam.
Yeah.
I also, at the same time, I was functioning as a person, I will say, with this sticking plaster on my anxiety, which I thought was fantastic because I could function and work. by while taking the diazepam. But then I also had an accident where I injured my back badly on a scooter, and that was in my mid-30s, I think, and I started taking over-the-counter painkillers. And taking the over-the-counter painkillers then led me to actually buying the codeine illegally and using the codeine and becoming addicted to codeine.
Yeah.
That was then. And one thing that I didn't realize until I came, because the principles was exactly what Niki was saying earlier, which was everything that I was experiencing at the time, the pain, including the pain, anxiety, the pain, and depression, the root of that was in thought. When I heard that from Sid Bank's readings and the principles, I thought, well, is that possible? And if you Google it, there's a well-known doctor in America who teaches, Dr. Sarno, who professes for people with back pain that actually the back pain can be 99% of back pain is induced by thought, negative thoughts. One prime example of this, as I was talking to another member of the 3P organization, was I was in the queue at Sainsbury's waiting to pick up my groceries. And I knew it was quite a long queue. And I thought, okay, here comes my back pain. But with the awareness through the three principles that this back pain was caused by my thought, I thought, yeah, I'm feeling frustrated because I'm in a queue. And then I decided to think, well, think something, not make a deliberate effort, but be aware that this negative thinking that I was experiencing was actually causing the back pain. As soon as I stopped thinking in that way, the pain disappeared. I used to have to go to bed every night, and I bought a big box of them, box of these pads to put on your back. The back pain, I no longer need those because I know that back pain which I was experiencing was formed in thought, and that's really is profound. I can't say, I'm privileged to be a member of this community, but and I can't say I'm not all I'm perfect. And one great example of this is that this week, I was thinking of ways to make myself happier, and one way what I thought would be to actually sell my house and move somewhere else. And it was only today I had the realization that actually the happiness was in here. It wasn't outside. I would not achieve happiness from anything external. The happiness could be obtained quite simply through thought. And the wonderful spiritual part of the three principles, which I really enjoy, is knowing that we're all connected. Everybody's connected. I don't tie myself to any label. If I had a label, I would have to go to Narcotics Anonymous and say, "Hello, my name is Mark. I'm an addict." Well, I'm not an addict. I went through a process that woke me from that addiction. So I'm no longer an addict. I can actually take the substance that I was taking in an addictive form now, use it once, put it down again, and then not think about it again for 3 weeks. No, whereas if I went to Narcotics Anonymous, I would have to reinforce the label at every meeting by standing up and saying, "Hello, my name is Mark. I'm an addict. And oh, by the way, last week I took codeine." Well, hold on. Last week I had back pain, or I'd really injured myself on the gate putting the bins out, and I had a real back pain that I knew wasn't thought. So I took codeine for it. Fine. Next day I didn't need to take it again because I didn't have the pain. And it's in the feeling of being part of a community, of being one, the oneness. You'll hear this being mentioned in the 3 principles. To me, that's like, I feel as if when I get my peace of mind, and I do get my peace of mind so much more now in a profound way. And I think that we're all connected. Everyone is connected in a way. And that's, I'm just like, if water is H2O, I'm just like a molecule of water in an ocean, an infinite ocean, which is everybody else. And we're all connected in that way. There's something important I was going to say. I'm trying to think what it was.
It's good, Mark. It's good what you shared.
It's all important.
But yeah, if it comes back to me, I will say. But yeah, it's that awareness, and I know John mentioned the work of Eckhart Tolle, and Eckhart Tolle had obviously heard of Sydney Banks, the works of Sydney Banks, and the most profound statement in that there in his books is that everyone is just one thought away from mental health, and it's true. Absolutely true.
Yeah, I mean, I was given my own kind of mental health diagnosis, and also I was sick from a child with chronic fatigue, and it's kind of realizing that that's just where you are at that precise moment, and it's seeing the innocence all the time, that actually we didn't know, and we were just doing the best we could. And it's very much hearing what Sid said, that we're all doing the best we can given the thinking we have at that time. And then for me, it's just seeing that all of it's kind of part of this sort of beneficent overall thing of spirit or energy or Mother Nature that's all trying to bring us back to it. And so when we do kind of get into that stressful moments and that, it's all part of the system that he's trying to let us know. And then it's seeing the innocence that, yes, we did these things or this happened at the time, but we were trying our best from what we knew then. And seeing that actually we have a better understanding now. Our understanding is higher now. So now we would do it differently. But we were still innocent at the time. And we're always innocent because we don't know, do we? And we can't blame ourselves for something when we don't know.
Well, I was going to say that one thing that for us, I would say that seeking the thing that I seek the most, the energy, is love. It's the ability to love and trust myself.
Yeah.
And from that comes the belief in what I can actually do. And beliefs can affect things so dramatically in major ways.
Yeah, definitely.
What one belief that is quite astounding when you think about it. In 1954, the world's belief on one thing changed, which was how fast a man could run a mile. A man ran a mile in 4 minutes. Did anybody ever question, had anybody since the dawn of time run a mile faster than 4 minutes? Of course they had. but they just didn't believe it. The world record now is 3 minutes 46 seconds. That's like giving the person, I think it is, 14-second head start. Stood there and letting the person go. It's a massive gap, and it's all down to love yourself, believe yourself, trust in yourself, and the rest will follow.
Beautiful, Mark. Beautiful. Go ahead, guys. Someone else of the other three. Beautiful, Mark. That was gorgeous.
I'll go. I mean, it's that kind of the silence that we're born from, and it comes from that tranquility, and the answers will come from there. And it's just that trust that, I mean, it's kind of what came to me. It's like there's an old tree in my garden, and it's just kind of like a bit of a stump and a few stumps out of it, and it looks dead. And it's been like that for ages. And we just thought that was the end of the tree. And now there's like little green shoots growing out of it. And you think that's nature, and we are that tree as well, and we're part of that tree. And always nature. And if you look at like the California fires, where everything was just wiped out, and then 2 weeks later, little green shoots were growing again. And so always when we can kind of trust in it, it will kind of bring it back to us and heal us. And I mean, it's kind of even like, it reminds me like my father, when he was, he'd had a heart operation and he was in a coma, and basically they called us up to the hospital and said like, they just basically thought that was it for him. And then he was in a coma and he got better. And that was kind of like, the doctors just said that was a miracle. And I mean, if you listen to Anita Majana, another one, a lady who had stage 4 cancer, and she was in a coma and they told her that was the end. And then she had her, what they would call a near-death experience, and she recovered from that. And so there's all these stories of people who have been told that they can never get better or they're going to die. And then they for some reason, they heal because they connect to the spirit and that, and it does heal. And the doctors can't explain it. No one can explain it through science and that. And it's realizing that when we do kind of trust that and let it come through us, I mean, it can heal us from the impossible and what would be considered unhealable. And so whatever people tell you that you can't get better, and I was told I couldn't get better, that actually they don't really know what we can get better from, and they don't know what the power of the universe and the power of nature and the power it's got to us. And when it comes through us, the power is beyond our comprehension. We just don't know, do we? And if anything's possible.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Niki Davison, did you want to elaborate?
Yeah, sure. I would. I was kind of thinking what Mark said, in that the thing that we're searching for, although like I kind of don't like the idea of searching, because in that searching it actually takes us further away from the thing that we want. But just to see that we are love, and to actually see that for ourselves. I think sometimes we can see that others are love, but to actually see that for ourselves. And for me, what this understanding has brought for me is hope and possibility. And it when I think about situations that I've been in and times that I've been through, I didn't ever think it would be possible to have a different experience of life and have a different experience of myself. And this understanding has shown me that there is always hope and there is always possibility. And possibility and hope come from seeing that we are love.
I'll just say this. I think, this is what comes to my mind is that as a kid, I was extremely anxious and panicky. And I was always looking for answers. Always looking for answers. What is this about? What's that about? What's life about? And I asked my dad a question once, and my dad said to me, John, your problem is you think too much. And he was speaking the truth, of course, but I didn't know that. He was actually speaking the truth, but he didn't even know he was speaking the truth. And what I heard was, yeah, I'm thinking because no one's ever given me any answers. And all that did to me was make me think more and more and more. And now I'm learning the nature of thought, how it creates our experience, right? And I'm thinking less and less and less. There's a place inside of all of us. It's innate health, it's peaceful, and it's extremely quiet, you know? And silence itself speaks. That's all I'll say.
Beautiful, beautiful.